Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by Resme. Resme is an app that allows you to have all of your recipes in one place. But it gets even better. Resme will create the recipe for you with measurements and ingredients and a shopping list. So when you go shopping, you'll have the list of ingredients that you need for the recipe. How great is that? And the recipe, of course, includes a detailed instructions and the amounts of the ingredients as well. Now, for over 20 years, I have a collection of notebooks where I have written down recipes that I either want to test or have tested, and that takes a lot of time. I have to physically write the recipe. I have to remember to write the recipe, and then I have to remember where that recipe is. But having something like Resme is great because it's all in one place and it's in my phone. That's another thing I like about Resme is that it makes the recipes and the food that you will potentially create more accessible. It saves you time, it makes it easier, and then it makes you more confident because once you get a couple recipes down, you're like, okay, what else can I make? And in the end, especially during these times, I think cooking for yourself is a great way to save money, take care of yourself, and learn something too. A tool like Resme is so great because now you can grab recipes off of TikTok, off of Instagram by simply pushing a couple of buttons. Another really great thing is that you can organize your recipes into different cookbooks. So you can create family meals, vegetarian meals, quick and easy meals, great ways to organize your meals. So if you're looking for something in particular, desserts, you can just look for your dessert cookbook. Resme also has a meal planning feature which allows you to plan your meals for the week, which is super great. It's a great way to reduce going out to eat, getting takeout, and cooking more meals for yourself. I think what I like most about Resme is makes the idea of cooking more achievable. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, you can click the link down below and check out Resme for yourself. Big thanks to Resme for sponsoring this video and for allowing me to make better videos for all of you. So speaking of social media inspiration, I found today's inspiration from social media. It comes from Vinny's in Brooklyn. It's a pizza shop that makes all kinds of very interesting, delicious looking pizzas. Today I'm going to be attempting to make a tomato soup pizza with tiny little grilled cheese sandwiches on top. It's a mouthful of a name, but it's exactly what I described. It's going to be a pizza with tomato soup. In this case, it's going to be a cream and rich sauce with tiny little grilled cheese sandwiches around the perimeter of the pizza that you can dip into the sauce on the pizza. Sounds fantastic, right? We're loading up on carbs, cheese, and pizza sauce. It's delightful. So let's go ahead and get started. The style of pizza that's shown in the video looks to be a little bit like a pan pizza, a little bit thicker. It's cooked in a pan, so I'm going to be using a pan today. And here in Rhode Island, we are very fortunate in that we can find pre-made pizza dough. In pretty much every grocery store, you can find it, which is wonderful. I love buying a couple balls and then I store them in my freezer, and then I can take them out the night before, the morning of, and then I've got pizza dough. Now, if you don't have pre-made pizza dough where you live, it's easy enough to make and you can keep it in your refrigerators. Some recipes even say that it tastes better if you let it age in your refrigerator 24 hours, 48 hours before you bake it. When I take the dough out of the bag, I like to press it out. When it's had time to rest, it's not very sticky and it stretches really readily. Plenty of gluten in there, so I don't even need much flour or any flour to shape it. Now, as it cooks, it will shrink a bit, so I'm going to stretch it a little bit larger. Even it out around the perimeter, creating a little bit of a crust. An edge, really. There. Pretty simple and easy. Now I'm going to place this into my preheated oven. It's set at 425 degrees, and I'm just going to Parbaking this for a few minutes, and just so it gets a little bit browned on the top, just so it's kind of baked all the way through before we put our sauce on top. Now typically when I make pizza, I like to cook my pizza on a baking steel, which is a really heavy piece of steel. You place it in your oven and you let it preheat. I like letting it preheat for about an hour. just so it's ripping hot. 450, 500 degrees, like ripping hot. Stretch your dough out and shape it, and then dress it right on top of your pizza peel. Then sling it onto the hot steel, and then I bake it for about 8 minutes until it's all bubbly and all the cheese is melted and your toppings are cooked really fast because the oven's pretty hot. But 425 is a cooler oven, and according to the baking directions, it says 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm gonna do a little pre-bake first, and while that happens, let's make our tiny little grilled cheese sandwiches. So I'm estimating for the size of my pizza, I'll need maybe 2 grilled cheese sandwiches. So I'm going to use my griddle to cook them because it'll happen faster, more surface area. Now, when it comes to grilled cheese, and what I've taught my children is that you want the temperature to be relatively low because we want the cheese to melt, right? It's going to take some time. Otherwise, we'll toast the bread and the cheese won't be melty, right? So lower temperature than you think. And it might not brown right away, but that's good because we want the heat to melt the cheese. Another thing is that I put butter on the end because, again, butter loves to brown and it'll brown pretty early. So I like to use a little bit of oil. Some people use mayonnaise, I know. I don't love mayonnaise on my grilled cheese, at least toasting it grilled cheese. Gonna place my pieces of bread there. We're just going with the American cheese slice because I think that's what's appropriate for this pizza. Plus, this is what looks like is on Vinny's pizza. Take another slice on top, and then I'm gonna do a little flip so that the other side gets a little bit of oil too. See, no browning yet. We're just trying to melt the cheese. And now I'm gonna cover this. Look at that. See that? I guess that's why they dock pizzas. You know, they poke little holes in them so it doesn't do that. You know, they have that tool that like pokes the dough in pizzerias. I see why. I understand. So we're gonna do that. And I'm gonna put that in there for a couple more minutes. Let's check on the grilled cheeses. Let's give a little whoopsie flip flop. Keep it covered. And the pizza crust I'm gonna take out. It's been in about 8 to 9 minutes. Cheese is definitely starting to melt. Yes, it's melted. And oh, look at that. Toasted perfection. Now this is where I add the little bit of butter. The butter for me is more for flavor than the actual browning. I'm gonna turn off the heat because we are good at this point. Just to swirl the bread in that just a bit. Look at that. Gorgeous. I'm going to put them on a rack so that they stay crispy. If you put them on a plate, the heat and steam from the sandwiches will cause them to steam up and get wet and not be crispy. Look at that, gorgeous. So we elevate them and allow the steam to escape. Now to top the pizza, we're going to create our tomato soup, which they show in the video as simply being a combination of heavy cream and sauce. I'm just gonna use some jarred sauce because, I don't know, I'm gonna add some sauce to a bowl, and to that we're gonna add some heavy cream. And that's the soup. It's not actual tomato soup, at least not at Vinny's. It takes on this almost like vodka sauce color to it. Place it on our pizza crust and liberally sauce it, leaving a little bit of a perimeter. So we want this to be dippable, but it reminds me a little bit of a Rhode Island style bakery pizza. Not that they would put cream in the sauce, but it's often rectangular and cut into strips, and it's just bread, kind of a pan style bread with sauce, and there's no real cheese on it, no melted cheese or anything. Maybe a little bit of grating of Romano, often bagged in plastic bags and sold near checkout stands as a kind of an impulse buy. This is what this is reminding me of a bit. Now I'm going to place this back in the oven and cook it for another 7 minutes or so into the oven. In the meanwhile, let's cut our perfect little grilled cheese sandwiches. Half again, and each one half and half. 8 slices. Yes. browning on the crust. Good steaming from all that sauce. We take our little grilled cheeses and we nestle them in. I think we slice first. Yes, I think so. Wait, because we did a pre-toast. Did you hear that? So if you don't have a baking steel, you still can make a crispy pizza. My youngest child is adamant that there be 8 slices, or at least that they be of all equal size. Now time for the grilled cheese placement. We have enough for 2 for each. Pretty stinking cute, oh my gosh. And then we dust it all with a little bit of parsley. Ta-da! Alrighty, lovelies, there is the tomato soup pizza with tiny grilled cheese sandwiches on top. Ta-da! Let's give it a taste. Doesn't look too shabby, right? All right, let's take the sandwich, dip it in the sauce, give it a taste. Itadakimasu. Mmm. That's great. Classic grilled cheese sandwich with American cheese that's melty, dairied, not really cheesy, plasticky in your mouth, crispy on the outside, with a nice dip of marinara. Great. Now let's try it with a bite of the grilled cheese and the pizza. Mmm. That was an excellent crunch. I thought I might miss some of the cheese because we didn't really add any cheese. Oh, we're supposed to add some Romano. I don't think it needs it, but in Vinny's, they show a little sprinkling of it. So I should add some of that on top. All right. Just a little bit of that powdered stuff on there. Let's try it now. Even better. That makes it a little bit saltier, gives it a little bit of a funkiness, cheesy funkiness. Terrific. This crust is phenomenal. With the grilled cheese, carb excess. Thumbs up. I definitely recommend parbaking your crust on a pan, hot oven, before putting on toppings, and then you'll get this delectable crunchy crust. All inspired by Vinny's in Brooklyn. Alright, my lovies, thanks so much for watching, and big thanks to Rest.me for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to check out Rest.me for yourself, please click the link down below. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! I cannot wait to give this one to my kids.